guys, Liz here, aka Isabelle, Cheren, Bondi Babe, Liz for Paris, and all my bots. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Isa. I'm trying not to make it a lot of noise. For some reason, my mic is really sensitive today. Every time I try to record it. I think it's because I changed the settings on it for another little project I'm doing, and I can't remember where I had my settings before. So I apologise if you can hear all sorts of things like me banging my desk and all sorts of things. Okay, my last Coffee with Isa. I have got an update to that, and I will release it perhaps tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. So my last Coffee with Isa was about sexual harassment in the workplace, and I had such an awful lot of support. It was really lovely, but I also encountered seeing some pretty bad things in social media where people decided to debate the topic without any thought of actually the victims of these situations. So, you know, they went ahead and debated it, and that's great. I really believe in debate. However, do so with some sort of knowledge. Don't do so just based on an opinion that you made up from the press or an attitude that you have without getting some sort of insight into actually what this situation, this topic is about. Sexual harassment in the workplace is quite serious to many people, and I was quite disappointed to see some of the negative stuff that was based on not knowing what it was they were talking about. Anyhow, getting off that topic. I have asked you previously before to let me know things that you'd like me to talk about in Coffee with Isa, and I did actually get a nice long note card from someone, and there are a number of topics on there. I don't think I can cover them all in today's coffee, but I'll give it a go. Okay. So, one of the first things this person said to me is looking at different things in SL. You know, there are the keywords like, are you a hunter? And it was like, hell yeah. That they pique your interest. And you teleport over, and you see it's an adult sim, but you teleport over, and actually when you land there, you realise it is a very seedier side of Second Life. Yeah, I think since Second Life began, I'm not sure actually how far back it goes, but the adult community in Second Life, and I guess the sex industry, if you want to cut to the chase, is quite a big part of Second Life. In terms of they're all adults in there, and this is a very hard topic for me actually, because you know, on one hand I've discussed sexual harassment, on the other hand I'm now going to talk about the rights to be liberated in a virtual world. So there are two flip sides to the coin. There might be two flip sides, but actually you can separate them completely. First of all, harassment of any sort is harassment. There's no two ways about that. You want to look at your dictionary. It's about pushing something onto someone else that actually they don't want. Okay? But sexuality and being sexual, that is something completely different. That is quite a healthy, normal human characteristic that we all seem to have, unless of course we're mutations of another species, because that's what makes the world go around. That's how we breed, and that's how we produce children. We participate in sex, and we have various levels of what piques our interest, blah blah blah. But what this person was raising was some of the really seedy sides of Second Life, where actually it's kind of, you know, drawing, there's a line, there's that fine line between kink and then it becomes obscure. Okay, this is an interesting topic, because I've read so much about this kind of thing. Where do I start? Okay, so you have your escorting and that kind of thing in Second Life, yep. And then, of course, you have your kinkier side. So you have your BDSM sector. That's quite a big thing, actually. And that role-playing whole situation is quite a big thing. I've only ever dabbled in small bits into various sides of Second Life, because there were places that I went to and I was taken to that were damn well interesting, and then there were other places that actually I went to and I felt really quite sickened by what I was seeing. Some stuff that's really into vor and you know, body chopping bits and things like that. I personally don't get it. I really don't get it. Why anyone would even want to simulate it, I don't understand. You know, there's role playing, and then there's just like appealing to someone's really sick side. And I'm sorry, that's my opinion. And to other people, that might be their absolute, you know, what they're into. But, you know, body parts and chopping up people and that kind of thing, I'm sorry, I don't find that sexually attractive at all. I don't even find it interesting. I don't wish to even see it. I have been into these sims. I've been into a number of them where I was taken. And, you know, I've had discussions with people about this, and, you know, some people say, oh, well, you know, if they act out their fantasies in here, they would be less likely to carry it into the real world. I'm not really sure on that. And the reason I'm not really sure on that is that anyone that's had any sort of sexual moments within Second Life, I mean, you know, let's get real, you know, people have relationships in here, they become quite sort of turned on, they enact those relationships, they feel love, they feel sexual feelings, they feel all sorts of things, and sometimes that transcribes over into the real life, and people do what they do. That's as far as I'm going to say. But what about the situations where there's this more, you know, this more seedier, more degrading part of this world? I'm not so sure that that is accurate, that prevents people going on the street. I don't know what other people think, and I'd be really interested to know what some people think. But, you know, whatever you pique your interest in, it's like foddering. Foddering's probably not the right word. I've made that up. It's like feeding an interest. So when you watching or looking at something, you're feeding that hunger for whatever it is that drives your kink. So I struggle with understanding how participating in role playing to that kind of thing in a virtual world would mean that you'd walk away from your computer and you'd forget about it, and you wouldn't even think twice about it. You wouldn't carry it forward, because the fact that you're enacting in it and that you're participating in it suggests that actually that's a real deep interest of yours. It's a real deep desire of yours. I find it hard to understand how people switch off their desires. And I think when you go back to what you see every day documented in various publications that have come out over the years, people often do things based on what they've seen or fantasized about. And I think that's my concern. When you're fantasizing and you're seeing things, it leads to you either deciding that actually that's not for you, or leads to you desiring to actually reenact it. That's the bit that I'm struggling with some of this really dark side of sexuality and Second Life. I have seen some things that actually made my stomach turn. I remember once going to a sim, and it was a guy. He said, "Oh, come, you'll have fun." And actually, when I got there and we were just messing around, you know, I'm like, let's jump on the animation, and I was laughing. I was just really laughing. I found it hilarious. However, people were landing and people were trying to interact, and there was like a role play thing going on. I was actually quite disturbed by it. It made me feel extremely uncomfortable. There was one where you roast a person. I mean, seriously, Who the hell wants to roast a person? Who wants to be roasted? I'm talking on a barbecue spit, and oh no, I just found it absolutely bizarre. Reminds me of those horror films that I've seen, and I don't watch them because they make me feel sick. Well, anyhow, I was at this sim one day, and he started role playing it, and I mean, I was just like, oh my god, he's being serious. And these other people, and actually I felt like throwing up. I really did, because you know what, no matter what kinks you find in your deep dark desires, roasting people ain't one of mine. It never will be. Never ever 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 do I fancy popping someone on a spit roast, or myself. So we'll just stop right there. Okay. I did have an interesting experience though. I remember a while back, a female contacted me, and I can't remember what sim I was on, contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do a role play dialogue. Bit naive I am, absolutely very naive. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. You know, what would you like to role play about? And because she said to me, I like to write down what I role play about, and would you participate? And I didn't really quite sort of get it. You know, as you don't if you're a bit stupid like me. Anyhow, so I said to her, okay, and she said, I hope that you can participate. And I was like, oh, okay, so what would you like to role play about? You know, because I thought, oh, this would be fun, this would be something different. So she says to me, I want to role play about vor. Do you know what vor is? And I'm like, no, tell me about it. And she did proceed to tell me. I literally logged off. I swear to God, I literally logged off, and I felt sick. And if anyone doesn't know what vor is, it is a combining form meaning one that eats. Okay? And her fantasy was bizarre, was that someone would eat her from down below and eat her from up. Yeah, eat her. Not a Kentucky Fried Sandwich or a McDonald's or a nice steak from the freezer. Eat her. And I just felt absolutely sick. There are some really oddities in there. And I guess I have to question, because people really do this stuff in real life. So for people to say that it's solely, oh, it's fantasy and it never comes true, well, bugger me, that's not true. Because people have been arrested. It's been, you know, we have serial killers that do this kind of stuff, and it's real. It happens. So to create spaces that invite this kind of thing, I have to sort of really ask, why? Why would you encourage it? Why would you encourage the fantasy of that kind of thing? So I do struggle with it, and a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but you know, I find it bizarre. I absolutely find it bizarre. So yeah, it's just, I totally get sex sims. You know, we are sexual beings. I mean, that's what makes us procreate and crack on with life. I mean, that's the cycle of life, and we are sexual beings. That's definitely what we are. And we do have fantasies, and many fantasies, you know, are okay, but it's when we're getting to the side of the fantasy where we're actually hurting someone else, we're actually dismembering bodies, we're seriously, animals, what's that about? Seriously, there are people that want to do their dog or their horse or their cow. I mean, I'm just so sorry, but if you want to do your dog, cat, horse, cow, go live on a farm somewhere and don't tell anybody. But my God, do not do it in my vision, because all I want to do is go and save the dog, cat or cow and I want to beat you. I want to beat you with a stick. I'm laughing because actually it, simulated on screen, you can go, what the fuck? But the fact is, again, in real life, people do this. And I call that cruelty to animals. I'm sorry, but it's cruelty to animals. Anyone that believes their dog or their cat or their cow or their horse wants to do them, think again. They don't set out in their lives thinking, oh, that human looks good, let me do. No, they don't. That is taking advantage of your pet. And I'm sorry, it's just bad. So, yeah. This is such a bizarre subject, but because I was asked about this and about my thoughts on it, I thought, okay. And it's just such a strange thing. But yes, there are some incredibly disturbed people, I think. And you find them, I mean, let's face it, you find them in all walks of society. So you are going to find them in a virtual world, you know, and it troubles me. It does trouble me. And like I said, no one's going to necessarily agree with what I'm saying, because some people might practice this stuff. Go practice on your own quietly. Please don't let me know. I don't want to know, because I will judge you. I will judge you if you're doing your dog, your horse, your cat, or your rabbit. And I will judge you if you've decided to eat Martha's body bits, because frankly, that isn't right. Okay. Oh God, it's such a topic. And the other thing I was asked, okay, let me see. The question was something in real life that you would not live without, that you wish you had in Second Life, or something in Second Life that you would not live without. Oh, that's my phone. If you could have it in real life. Oh, that's my son. He's texting me to tell me he's not home for dinner tonight. That's lovely. Brilliant. I don't have to cook. Okay, something I could not live without in Second Life. That's my clock. What could I not live without in Second Life? Actually, I'll tell you what I could not live without is the very close friendships that I've made. I've been in Second Life, God, for a long time, over a number of avatars, and I've met some of the most disturbed weirdos I could ever possibly meet. Clearly, they're not on my friends list. But I have also met some of the most beautiful, wonderful, loving, kind, decent people I could ever hope to meet. And that is something that you just cannot buy. You cannot buy that. You can't bottle it. You can't sell it. You can't any of it. It's such a great thing when you connect with people, and then you can either connect with them and remain in world, or actually you take that outside the world and friendships grow. And I have got many friends on my friends list. Many friends. I don't even know who half these people are, because obviously through blogging or various things over the years I've added them. And like I've said before, I meet people with one name and then they change their names all the time. I'm like, I don't know who you are anymore. Who are you? But I've got a group of friends, and they're really good people. Really good people. And they're always there for me. You've got your friends, you've got your fair weather friends in Second Life. They're those that talk to you now and then, because they've got nothing better to do, or you go to a function and you natter away and you have a little catch up. There's those friends. They're not bad friends. They're like your fair weather friends, okay? And I guess they're like your acquaintances that you chillax with and all that kind of thing. But then you also have the very good friends, the ones that actually you connect with, and just something changes and you realize that actually you want them in your real world. And I've got a number of them. I would name them all, but I don't want to embarrass them. But all of these people that are my real friends, I connect with them outside of SL. And you know, they've been there for me through some very tough times, or I've met them since my tough times, but they are there, rock solid, good people, both male and female. And I think that's the wonderful thing that I wish was easier to take from Second Life, was a lot of these friends. I wish I could just pop them into my real world, pop them in my living room, sit down and have a cup of tea and natter away over a curry or whatever. I really do. But the thing with Second Life is you meet people from all around the world, and unfortunately I don't have that kind of money to just ship people over. So I always refer to my my little pixel friends. I have done it in my blogs. I call all my friends on SL my pocket friends, and what I mean by that is I pop them in my pocket close to my heart, and they're always with me. I can pop on Snapchat, I can pop on WhatsApp, I can pop on my SL Facebook, I can message them and go, guess what? Oh my God, can you believe this? Da 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 da. And that is such a wonderful thing that I bring away from Second Life. And I'm quite an open person like that. If I feel I trust you and I feel that you're important to me, I add you to my real world, because my friendship isn't just, I don't pretend my friendship, I don't pretend my feelings, and I don't pretend certainly the love I feel for anybody, because it's true, it comes from my heart and how I am. So if I connect with people, I think it's great. And so I guess that's the one thing that I could not do without, is the good friendships I've made from the virtual world that I bring into my real life. Okay. What was the other thing? Wackos and the mannerisms of people in public transport, social events, weddings, birthdays, parties, funerals, and when normally met. Actually, that's quite interesting. So basically, the way people behave. Now, let's face it. People have personas. When you're in Second Life, it's easy to turn into your persona. I'm actually the same in Second Life as I am outside. I'm kind of a little bit shy. I don't, you know, if I really like someone, I find it hard to tell them that in both worlds. I just find it hard. Because I'm just a little bit insecure like that, I guess. So I find that hard to convey that kind of thing. So I guess the person that you find in there and the person that's outside, we're one and the same. I don't sort of act in a different way. I don't behave in any sort of different way. I am exactly the same. However, some people come in here and they turn into a persona that they wish that they could be outside in the real world. So I think for different people you behave differently. I certainly think that some people that I see out there behave certainly wouldn't behave like that in real life. I mean, for example, jumping on someone's head, well, you can't do that in real life because physically it's impossible to teleport and land on someone's head. Pushing someone in the river and things like that, because let's face it, it's so much fun when someone's AFK and you can just sort of maneuver them into a position they really don't want to be in. You can't really do that in real life. I mean, I can't really walk up to someone that's just stood there and just sort of whack them one and not think that they're going to slap me back. It's never going to happen, is it? No, not really. This gentleman said to me, ever since he's been in Second Life, it has been one wild and crazy ride from one extreme to another, non-stop. And yes, it can be. It certainly can be. Especially when you're newer in here, you're exploring so much more when you're new. I think you spend a lot of time exploring. A lot of people I've spoken to agree that you often tend to explore your sexuality. Not everyone, some don't, and I certainly wouldn't say that they do, but a lot of people do tend to explore their sexuality and discover things about themselves. So there's that side of it. So you explore so many things that you couldn't or wouldn't do in real life, because actually in real life you don't have the opportunities, or you feel self-conscious, or you just don't have those moments. So yeah, it's a whirlwind. So you're exploring that. You're exploring places to go, meeting lots of people. You're exploring feelings, you know, wild feelings that you can feel for people, because in the conversations that you can feel after a week of being with someone like you've known them your whole life. And that might sound crazy to people that have not experienced this. And the reason why you do is you cram so much into those conversations that you have with people. Whereas in the real world, let's face it, we have a real life. We go to work, we come home, we cook dinner, and you do an odd text to someone, and you might meet and go for a coffee, or you might meet and go for dinner, but you're not with someone the length of time, and you're not opening up to someone as much as we do in here. I think we tend to open up more. I know I certainly do. I'm very open, and you tend to open up more because you feel confident behind your avatar. You feel safe behind your avatar. So you kind of tend to open up, and so the feelings that you feel become so much more intense than what you would do on the street, I guess. So there's that. But my friend has said to me how he's found this one crazy ride, and how oh my goodness, he actually introduced someone from real life into SL. So he's introduced someone from real life into SL and helped her set her mesh body up and everything, and she's actually adopted him as her father within SL. So he's got like a family, which is really nice. At the end of the day, I mean, people find it really strange, because I see so much stuff about child avatars and families and blah 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 blah, but people have forgotten the name of this world. It's called Second Life. So Second Life means you're having a second life, unless you're just a troll or whatever, and you're just going about doing that trolly kind of thing. You are living a second life, and not many people, I don't think many people, after they've been here a couple of times, would say, oh, I'm just playing a game, because we all know it's not a game. It's not a game because there's no sort of like game. You're going around, you're interacting with people, you're having conversations, you're building homes, you're sprucing your avatar up, you're doing all those sorts of things that you're bloody well doing in real life. But you're able to do it better in here, because your avatar can look much better than you ever hoped to look. Your house can be a lot bigger than you ever hoped it could be, because your everything is so much better, because it's on a smaller scale, it's more affordable, whereas real life it's not. Okay, so real life it's not so easy to access these things. And then you've got the family. I've never been one for the family thing. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't want a mummy and daddy and a bloody 2.5 children and all that kind of thing. If you come at me with a prim child, I'm going to tell you where to go. It has absolutely no interest to me. I don't have an interest in getting pregnant and all that kind of thing, because actually, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a single woman. And there goes that song. Well, I'm not really single, but I don't want any of that. So that's never been my thing. But I certainly wouldn't diss someone that does have that, because I think people enjoy interacting and enjoy that sort of role play of the family, because sometimes, you know, their real lives don't have that support network. Their real lives don't have that sort of, I guess that loving in it as well. However, some people do it because they are so in love that they're not able to be together in real life, and so they want to express that. There's so many different reasons, and I just think whenever I see something and people think it's weird that people want to do this, I think, well, you know, to each his own in that respect, as long as you're looking after those children. Because if you're not feeding those kids, I'm going to have to say something. All right, I will. Child avatars. Do you know what? I created a child avatar in one of my alts because I filmed for the UWA, and I filmed a film regarding my grandson, so I needed a child avatar. How weird are people in their reactions? I teleported to a maternity hospital. Now this is so funny. I teleport to a maternity hospital as a child avatar because I want to film there. I get told by people, that are moderators, whoever they are there, we don't take that kind of weird stuff here. Please leave now. And I'm like, this is a maternity hospital. You're role-playing children. But you're turning me away. And all I wanted to do was film. And I said that. I said, I'm just filming. And they said to me, no, you can come back as an adult, but do not, we don't allow child avatars here. And that's quite an interesting thing, because in quite a few different places, there's that feeling. It's kind of a mixed one. I understand why people panic, because obviously you've got in society a lot of paedophilia going on. But that is not what these people are doing. A lot of these people are reenacting something because they feel liberated. I certainly don't condone the sexual side of that kind of thing, and I would whip someone if I saw them acting that, because I find it a tad worrying. That role play where, you know, no. If I see you doing that, I'm coming after you with a stick. But to live as a child avatar and to behave and be childish and be free, I understand that, because I think a lot of people have very repressed lives. A lot of people have situations in their lives where they feel they can't be expressive. They feel that they're so responsible for everything. And I think sometimes, I mean, this is my view on it, and this is my take on it. I don't know if this is correct or not, but this is how I've seen it. And this is how I sort of rationalize it in my head, that people role play as child avatars to feel free, to feel innocent again, to feel alive again, and just carefree. Because frankly, real life sometimes bloody sucks. It does suck. And there is often, you know, often even myself, I sit on the bus and I sit there and I want to bury my head in my hands and go, Christ, why? And I so often think, I wish I was 10 again, or I wish I was 14. All of this stuff would go away at that. I wouldn't have to deal with any of this stuff. And so I get it. I really understand people doing this. Like I said, I don't condone the people that do it for their sexual kinks, because like I said, I'll come after you with a stick if I see you. But people role-playing, and I've seen some amazing artists on Flickr and in Facebook, and I've seen one in particular, and he does the most amazing photos, and I love it because it's like an adventure, and I love that. I think that's just wonderful, and that is what this world's about. It's about living a second life and finding new things and enjoying them. But yeah, as in real life, there's always the bad part. But the bad part doesn't outweigh the good part. There's all this good stuff. The bad part is that little percentage of people that, frankly, I need to put on a sofa and read their heads. I really do need to read their heads. You know, I've come across some bizarre people, and their behaviours are atrocious. But like we all say, if people behave atrociously and stuff, mute the bastards. Get rid of them. Mute them. De-render permanently and mute them. Get rid of them. Because that's a wonderful thing about Second Life. If someone's absolutely irritating your ass off, you can get rid of them. And unfortunately, there are some people that come back as like alts. I mean, I was involved a couple of years ago with someone who was a complete weirdo, and he had, honest to God, he must have had about 100 or so alts. He kept trying to crash Sims, and I was just like, oh, you're like a kid. And yeah, I stopped talking to him because I just thought, oh, what is this about? There are people like that. Again, I have to say, why are you this disturbed? It's like, it's just bizarre. People find amusement in strange things. I try to level it, and I try to think about it, and I try to see and understand why, but there are some things I really don't. Oh, There goes my computer making noises. So yeah, so there is that. The other thing, is there anything else that I need to set up? No. Just about people's behaviour. So yeah, so I hope that's answered some of my friends' questions or addressed some things that he's brought up to my attention. It just gives room for thought, and actually I welcome people's views on some of this stuff, and if you do role play in these kind of things, please explain to me. Maybe I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand it. There are some things I really don't. As I've said before, I don't watch slasher films and stuff like that because I find them so sick. But that's my personal viewpoint. Maybe someone can explain to me the other side of it. What's so great about them? You know, yeah. So I welcome anyone that wants to sort of educate me as to some of this stuff, because it's stuff I struggle with, and my cat's talking now. Shush. I struggle with some of these things, and they're not for me. But hey, we all have choices, and we all do things that we want to do. So I think I've rambled on enough now. By the way, the sim that I'm actually on is called Deciduous. I have been here before quite a while ago. I had to come back because it's just so beautiful. So I've come to Deciduous, and I will link to that in my blog underneath this video in the description, because you really, really, really must come here. It is just so pretty. And all that's left for me to say is, and which is, I'm going to say this every time I do a coffee, feel free to subscribe if you wish to come back again for another coffee with Isa. You know how to subscribe. You press the subscribe button. Subscribe. Apparently that's what I'm supposed to. I'm only doing that now because I was reading these tips on how to be a good vlogger, and one of them was that you should always tell people to subscribe because they won't automatically think about it, and then when they think, oh, I wouldn't mind watching it again, they won't remember where to come. So I'm telling you, subscribe. Good God. I hate telling people what to do, but there you go. Anyhow, I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.